How's it going, YouTube? This is Skul, and welcome to my video game pickups for the month of December 2019. I didn't get much this month, and I will probably get even less next month, so if you want to make sure that I keep doing this as a series, please leave a comment on this video, make sure to leave a like, all that stuff. Because, honestly, if I don't get much next month, then I don't think I'd make a video otherwise, but anyway, let's go ahead and just get started. With this, I got a PlayStation 3 for Christmas. This is a 160 gigabyte slim model, so this is the first revision of the PlayStation 3, well, the first major revision anyway. So the PlayStation 3 had several revisions. The launch model looks amazing. I'd love to get one someday just to look at it. It looks gorgeous. And then they made this. This is better in pretty much every way. It's cheaper. It did remove PS2 backwards compatibility, but it can still play PS1 games. This does not fry itself to death. It does not have the yellow light of death issue. Anyway, this is pretty much the best PlayStation 3 that I could have hoped for to get for myself to play games, and I got it for Christmas. So fitting. I got a PlayStation 2 for Christmas last year. I got a PS3 this year. So yeah, super happy to have that. And with this, I actually own every single console that uses HDMI output. And I own at least one of every PlayStation model. So that's awesome. Like, seriously, the most recent console that I'm missing from my collection is a Sega Dreamcast. That's pretty amazing. So anyway, I had this all hooked up. I have it on the on my gaming setup. It works great. I played both PlayStation 3 and PS1 and PS3 games on this, and it works great. Super happy to have that. Oh, man. So, and the great thing is I already have a few dozen PS3 games, so I already have a nice little library. I can't wait to jump into this. I just need to get a new HDMI switcher to make sure that has room. And this PS3 came with GTA 5. So I've always loved Grand Theft Auto 5. I actually own it on every single console and PC already, except for PlayStation 3. Amazingly, this is the only port of the game that I did not already own, and the PlayStation 3 came with GTA 5. And I love this game. Not the sort of game that you should play on a kid-friendly channel for an audience, but I love it. It's a lot of fun. One of the defining games of the last decade, and now I own it on PlayStation 3, so thanks to my family for getting this for me. It was a collective effort on all of them to get this for me. Speaking of PlayStation games, I actually picked up a PS1 game to add to my collection. Star Wars Episode 1: The Phantom Menace. And I don't know if it's just because I'm on a Star Wars high with The Rise of Skywalker coming out and me finishing my R2 in December, but I just suddenly remembered when I was in Walmart when I was a kid, they had a demo kiosk for the PlayStation 1, and The Phantom Menace was one of those games. I played it a lot. I plopped it into this PlayStation 3 to play it a little bit just to test the PS1 functionality. It works fine, but the controls are a lot worse than I remember. So, but regardless, I do have one more PS1 game to add to my PS1 collection. Speaking of old stuff I went to a comic book shop at a mall near me, and checked and saw what they had as far as video games. They had a lot. They were all way overpriced, including this. I paid more than I should have for this, but I needed to get it anyway. Super Mario Bros. 3. One of the most classic video games of all time, especially on the NES. I've never owned it before. I own it now. I swear I've never played it before I got it. Every time I watch other people play it on YouTube or on Twitch or something, or even in real life, every time I see it, I don't remember playing it during my childhood. But there's Mario's death animation and song for when he dies, and that triggers a memory of something that I must have seen when I was young. So I must have seen a friend of mine play this. Maybe, like, I have this idea in my head, maybe it's real, maybe it's not, of asking him, you have Mario Brothers 1 and 3, where's 2? And having a discussion about how 2 isn't that good, or it doesn't count, or something like that. I remember having a conversation like that, but I don't know if it's just my adult mind creating a false memory, or if I actually had that. But regardless, I now have Mario Brothers 3, a very important game to have in any NES collection. And thanks to this, I actually have a shelf full of NES games. I'll probably show a camera pan right here of all my NES games that I have right now. A whole shelf full of them. So, very happy to add that to my collection. And also this month we got these assortment of Shovel Knight amiibos. So, these were announced back in 2017. Well, most of them were. So, like, as old as the Switch is when they were announced. So, let's see, we have, let me see if I get this right. King Knight, Spectre Knight, and Plague Knight. Those were a 3-pack that were announced when Shovel Knight Treasure Trove was announced for the Switch. They were waiting for Treasure Trove to get a physical release, and they were waiting to get all the bugs ironed out and all the DLC added to the game before the physical release. It finally got its physical release, December 2019, over 2 years after it was announced. So finally, these were released, and these are very likely to be the final non-Super Smash Bros. Amiibo ever released, and I have every single amiibo in existence, so very happy to have those. And surprise, surprise, we got a gold Shovel Knight amiibo as well. So there was this point, I'd like to say back in August or September, it might have been October though, where it just suddenly showed up on Best Buy's inventory on their website, or not Best Buy, GameStop. So I went to GameStop and put down my my money, all of it, and pre-ordered the gold Shovel Knight amiibo right there and then it was announced the next day, and by then it was all sold out. But then, of course, turns out it's not a GameStop exclusive like everyone thought. Other retailers got them. They just waited until they were supposed to post them on their website. Regardless, I got it. So, there we go. 4 new amiibos to add to my collection. And, like I said, very likely the last non-Super Smash Bros. Amiibos to ever release. Let's see. We also got a few Switch games this month. So, as far as retail releases, I do not remember why I got these. They must have just been cheap. I must have had Best Buy rewards gift certificates to spend on them. So I must have just got them because they were cheap and they were something I was missing. So we got Contra Rogue Core, which is not a very good game from what I've heard. Konami doesn't seem to make good games anymore. We got Lego Jurassic World, which is the final Lego game that I was missing from my collection. Inevitably, there will be more Lego games to come to the Switch, but for now I have all of them. And this one's very special. This was not released in North America, Asian only. Final Fantasy VII and Final Fantasy VIII Remastered Twin Pack. So, obviously these games were already digitally released on the Switch. I owned both digitally. I have a save file on 7, quite a bit of the way into the game. But it got a physical release in Asia, like, the last day of November, I think. And then it finally arrived at my doorstep in mid-December. Super happy to have this. To the best of my knowledge, and please correct me if I'm wrong, this is the first physical release of either of these games since they were originally released on the PlayStation 1. That's just so amazing. And it's so good that Final Fantasy VII especially has a presence on the Nintendo Switch, a physical presence on the Nintendo Switch. You might or might not know, the Final Fantasy franchise was a Nintendo exclusive franchise up until 7. They had to move to the Sony PlayStation because the N64 couldn't handle the game. It was too big. But the Switch can handle it just fine, obviously. It is almost 25 years old now. 7 and 8 remastered, both here on the cartridge. Just so happy to have this and to add it to my collection. I don't care if I had to import it. Man, it's Final Fantasy, and I'm addicted to Final Fantasy now. We also, to finish up the video, we got 4 games from Limited Run Games, and these are ones that released in Best Buy stores after they sold out of pre-orders on their website. So I've explained this in the past. Best Buy sometimes get limited run games that they put in their stores. It's not for every game, but it's for a lot of them. And these are ones that I skipped out on ordering them online, and very happily they came to stores for me to buy for a lot cheaper. So the 4 games I got are Time Spinner, which I unfortunately don't have a clue what that's about. But these 2 I know very much about. We got Turok and Turok 2 Seeds of Evil. So these are, well, they're still rated M actually. These were shooter games on the N64, and they still look like N64 games even on the Switch. But they did get physically released Oh man, I've been collecting for the N64 off and on. I'm more off now. I just need to put my money in other places. Watch my update video if you want to know what I'm talking about. Coming out on January 1. But man, Turok, man, these are so fun. These are really. It's hard to explain. They're shooter games. They're kind of like Doom with dinosaurs, but that's not even really accurate. But it's a lot of fun, so I'm very happy that they got limited run game releases and that they came to Best Buy. And then the final game that I picked up is Duck Game, which I do not know what Duck Game means, but it's a LRG release, one of their more bare bones releases, and as I recall, it was cheaper than the others as well to make up for it. But Duck Game, so now I have every single limited run game release. Let's see. Yeah, up through number 46. This is number 46, and I have every single LRG Switch game through 46, with the exception of number 38, which has yet to be released either on their website or in stores. It has yet to go up for order at all. So essentially, I have the first 46 games, with one exception, which I will be happy to alleviate when it gets to that point. And that concludes my video game pickups. Hope you guys enjoyed my tie that I got for Christmas. This is, I just love this. It's Star Wars, X-Wings, and A-Wings schematics. My favorite thing that I got this month easily has to be the PlayStation 3. I'm so thankful to my family for gifting it to me for Christmas. Man, I'm looking forward to pouring a lot of time into this console. And the Blu-ray player works too. So, anyway, let me know what your favorite game was this month that I got. Let me know if you want to see me show off what I get in January 2020. Otherwise, here are my patrons. Thanks, everyone.